I think we're good. Awesome. All right. Welcome to number 5 of the Let's Talk Livestream with me, John Dow, former speech coach, English language instructor. What else did I do? I helped prep people for interviews, help people with speech coaching, doing public speaking. But now, getting back into content creation for YouTube, I think it worked out really well, not being overly prepared, not having the PowerPoint slide to go through. It helps me capture a maybe not 100% authentic, but a more authentic version of myself, because my main goal with speaking and doing these live streams again is to really showcase what real conversation, real speaking looks like. So what does that mean? It's not perfect. There's flubs, there's ums and uhs, there's likes, there's filler, there's unnecessary repetition. I do notice when I'm on phone calls lately, I do circle around with excessive repetition of talking points, but I think that's just bleeding over from all the years I've been doing teaching, where repetition is key. Even when people get sick and annoyed of repetition, they still need repetition to really grasp the concept that they're going through. So I still think these will run for about 15 to 20 minutes. Whether you tune in live, I'm trying to keep an eye on the chat over here, or if you watch the video on demand, that's all great and fine. I don't think there's a lot of pressure to like on the video, but reviving the channel here, I am just kind of curious to see how far we can push the subscriber count. We have been getting more subscribers this past month, so thank you very much for that. We are currently at 780. I kind of want to see if we can reach 800 by the end of the year. So no memberships or anything like that. Whether you subscribe or not, you can always leave a question or comment in the comments. But yeah, if you want to help me push things along, a subscribing to the channel would be great. So what I was thinking about last time was coming to these streams with maybe 2 to 3 topics, but I think today we're just going to focus on one, because it's going to give me enough to kind of rant and ramble and really pick apart and go through. And the main question brought up here is, what makes a good conversation? And I hate this question. Not that it's a problem for you to be curious. You want to learn how to improve. Maybe there's like some checklist that you're setting up for yourself to make sure that you mark all the boxes that if I do A, B, C, D, E, F, G, then for sure I'm going to have a good conversation. The reason why I don't like this is you can find yourself in a situation where you are indeed checking off all those boxes, but it's not a good conversation. On paper, in theory, it's okay, but it's just not really fulfilling. So what I would urge everybody to do is, first of all, start by reframing that question of what makes a good conversation, and focus on 2 key things. 1, why are you talking to this person? And 2, what do you want to talk about? And the more honest and sincere you can be about that, even if it is for superficial reasons. Maybe there's some office politics aspect behind it. Maybe, you really don't care about talking to this person. That's going to help guide what topics you bring up. And that's going to better shape what good can mean in that situation, instead of just having this blanket term of what makes a good conversation. Well, you need to be sure to project your voice, ask questions, wait your turn. I talked about it before. That whole controversial is not the word, but how some people can have strong feelings about interruptions, whether you do them or not. And for me, I think interruptions are completely okay, given the context, right? So going back to those points, why are you talking to this person, and what do you want to talk about? If there's no real incentive for you to talk to this person, that's going to make things a lot harder. So at a job, you probably have clear-cut reasons why you need to talk to your coworker, to your boss, your manager. Maybe if there's a new hire, or you work at a really large company and there's no real reason for why you have to talk to this person, that doesn't mean you can't. But if that person's so focused on work and they don't really like to intermingle with other people, well, that's a consideration that you have to keep in mind. Otherwise, if you just go with this idea that, well, I should be able to talk to anybody, and I'm following this checklist, I'm projecting my voice, I'm asking personal questions, or I'm asking open-ended questions, but they just don't want to talk with you. It goes both ways. Why are you talking to this person? Why does this person want to talk with you? If that doesn't really have any meat to it, then yeah, it's going to be a disaster of a conversation. Because this person's at the vending machine. They want to get a snack. They're hangry, right? And if you go with the, what's the old goal of learning English that I remember from a lot of students? I want to learn English so I can make friends with people all over the world. Not a bad reason if it is genuinely personal and highly incentivized for you. But in the grand scheme of things, it can be pretty weak. But okay, so you have that gumption. I want to make friends with as many people as I can. This person doesn't give a fudge about talking to anybody. You're going to be in for a rough time. And if you can't even be aware that some other people just don't want to talk, some people just want to do the job, they can't wait till they clock out so they can actually enjoy and live their life, what happens? Then for a lot of speakers who don't have confidence, then that's going to become internalized. Then they start to project on themselves, I said something wrong. If you're a non-native English speaker, oh, my English was poor. My pronunciation was bad. Was I too rude? Was I this and that? And the rudeness, it might not even stem from the actual wording, but just the initial engagement. It was rude just because this person wanted to be left alone, okay? If you are at a social event, yeah, things are bridged a little bit. Or if you're at a bar, so these environments where it is socially acceptable to be talking to a stranger. It's okay to walk up to somebody who you might not be familiar with. There's still an asterisk behind it, because even though these are designated spaces, people kind of half-ass how much investment they put up. I've been to tons of social events, mixers, where people still stay huddled in groups with the people that they know. They're not actually intermingling. So how much effort do you want to put towards it? So let's say you're really motivated. Yeah, you really want to work the room. You really want to talk to as many people as possible. I think you still benefit from trying to distill down why exactly you want to talk with this person. So if we take that, I don't want to call it naive. I don't want to call it optimistic, but just the simple notion. Okay, you want to make more friends with people. Why? Okay? Doesn't have to be super in-depth, but the more that you can clarify and define that, well, you want to make more friends because you're new to the city. Okay, well, follow that trail. What else does that mean? You're looking for things to do. You're not familiar with things. You're just trying to make sure that you're not missing out on things that you should be more aware of. That's great. Maybe there's a certain hobby that you're into and most of your friends aren't into that hobby. That's great. What else? Why would you want to get to know people? Maybe you just need an activity partner. If you're looking for dating, that's something that we got to cover in a different video and topic, because that definitely changes things. But just establishing friendship. Maybe if you're really introverted, and this is an even bigger task for you, you have to acknowledge that. So, okay, you don't really socialize. You're more quiet. You're not used to talking about most things. So you're even more conscious of how you sound and how you're perceived. So you want the practice. Okay, so then take off the weight of, well, I gotta make this person my friend. I gotta convert them. I gotta prove all these things. Now you're sparring. Now it's just practice. That should be a weight off your shoulders. So then, why am I talking to this person? I just need the speaking practice. Okay, then you shift it to, what do you want to talk about? Because I think one of the traps of being a good conversationalist is you just talk about things that the other person want to talk about. And you can get good at navigating that. You can be smooth with it, you can be fluent with it, but ultimately it's really unfulfilling because if the other person loves sports, you don't give a crap about sports. Maybe you can do something to bridge it a little bit. Like you can always have an opinion, you can always comment, it's not a bad thing to try to initiate and engage with things that, if my friend's really excited about something, I might not fully comprehend or understand it, but I want to be able to share some of that excitement with them. I want to be able to maybe know why exactly are they so excited about that? Why were they so frustrated about this thing? Why was it so, the highs and lows with it? Like it feels great when their team wins, but it feels so crushing when they lose, or why is it so disappointing? Finding the full breadth of it, getting the complete one-to-one. Don't even worry about any of that, but just what can you compare that to? There's always going to be a bridge between it. One of the techniques that I used to advise clients on was creating a Venn diagram. So the Venn diagram is when you have those two, let's see, can I do it with my hands? Two circles intersecting, and what's that common middle ground? So sports analogies are pretty easy. With sports, there's some sort of preparation, there's wins and losses. In the overall scheme of the game, what are those minor moments that lead up to the big win or the big loss? That's something that you can relate to, whether it's your own life journey or gaming or, the career path of a celebrity, if you're into celebrity news or musicians or that type of thing. But yeah, even though there are actions that you can take to meet someone in the middle, maybe there's a fear for people of dominating the conversation. So, if I only speak about things that I'm really interested in and no one else cares about it, isn't that a problem? It can be, if you are just going on and on and on, that's where you need to have some awareness of how people are tuning in and out. And to hold someone's attention for 100% of the time is a ridiculous ask and unnecessary pressure that you would be putting on yourself. There's always waves with this type of thing with conversation. So you're in a good groove, it's really exciting, then there might be a lull, and then it comes back up and down. You shift topics. That's when you can shoot a question, a follow-up question, or divert the topic, or you put a pause in that conversation here and you continue to mingle on with other people. We just don't want to paint a picture of a gold standard of if I do A, B, C, then it's always going to be a good conversation with no matter who I speak to for the entire duration of the conversation. It just doesn't work that way. So maybe a good way to wind this down is, one of the main reasons why I'm against this overall concept and creating a checklist for yourself is it's too reminiscent of school. And what I have always felt with schools and standardized tests is they don't give you the full picture of everything. So with English language speaking specifically, how many speakers I've known who have done terrible on tests, but they could use English, they could carry on, they sounded close to fluent. And how many people I knew who were amazing at tests, they could ace it. But when it came to actually engaging and interacting with people, they didn't have those skills. In theory, it should be linked together, but they're two very different routes of practice and outcomes and results. So I just don't want anyone to box themselves in and then become overly critical on certain bullet points they may or may not be missing. And in the grand scheme, it doesn't really impact what the good conversation can be. So maybe we do need to keep revisiting this concept of what continues to make or break a good conversation. But for now, yeah, really focus in. Why do you want to talk to other people, and what do you want to talk about? Okay? Because if you can really identify the things that you love to talk about, you can always modify, you can adjust. So even if it's something really, I don't know, inappropriate, or wow, like no matter how much in love with the topic you are, there's just nobody else who's gonna be able to meet you on that middle ground. As long as you have that information, that ammo, then you can cater, you can rework it. Like if other people have difficulty meeting you on the middle ground, then you can make the middle ground even easier. You can find different versions and formats of the stuff that you want to talk about. But I can't give you what you should be talking about. Other people might try to advise you in that way, but I think that's the worst way to go. If you don't care about music, but I have to convince you to love music in order to speak about it, you'll be able to do it, but ultimately it's not going to be fulfilling. So why get good at that type of conversation? All right. I don't think this rant today will probably lend itself to a neat and tidy cut up video that I can publish after the fact, but maybe there's a segment that I can snip for a clip or a short. But again, if you watch this VOD later, you can always leave any further questions or comments down below. And otherwise, stay warm, everybody. The Northeast up here is getting pretty chilly. And if you do subscribe to the channel, I really do appreciate that. We'll see how close we can get to 800 subscribers for 2020.